Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program tonight, multiple barricades, barbed wire fences, spikes on the road. These have been put up by the police at their protest sites near Delhi's borders with Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Those are some of the images, and we'll play these out for you in a while, of the extent of the fortifications made by the police on the borders. As you can see, concertina wires, as well as farmers continue their sit-in against the three contentious agriculture laws, the farmer laws. The internet remains blocked at a time when the farmers insist that they will be stepping up their protests. After the madness of Republic Day, when we saw unprecedented violence, we now have a complete standoff situation on the show tonight. This hopefully shouldn't look or reflect what the LOC is. But the fact is, parts of Delhi have been fortified. The police say they need to do that to protect themselves. But what signal does this Fortress Delhi send at a time when there is a crisis between the centre and the farmers? What is the way ahead? That's what we are looking at on the show. Also on the program tonight, Delhi's Sero survey shows well more than 50%. In other words, 1 in 2 people in the national capital have had COVID and have recovered. And therefore, herd immunity, you would have heard of that before, may be around the corner. A lot of people say that term is not good news. Now, is this really the case in a city of more than 18 million people? Can 9 million people already have had COVID? That's our second discussion today. But first, the farmer issue, the top 5 major developments. Farmer unions have called for a nationwide Chakka Jam on the 6th of February. They say no talks till the government releases protesters who they insist are innocent. Now, in Parliament, there were repeated adjournments today over the farmer protests. The farmer leader Rakesh Tikait has said there will be no ghar wapasi for farmers. They won't go back home till there is Kanun Wapasi. 3 Delhi entry roads have been further fortified. Now, in the Ghazipur border, there is heavy police deployment. The Singhu border, farmers tried to remove barricades. The Tikri border, iron spikes were up as well. Now, these images actually show you an idea of what we are talking about. Iron spikes, barbed wires at the protest sites, massive barricading as well. Now, it's being done by the police, as we mentioned previously on this program as well, to ensure that they remain protected. But this gives you an idea of how the battle lines, as they were, between the police and the farmers almost in a sense reflects a line of control. Who's going to breach that? When will there be peace? Will there be progress in talks? When will the talks happen? When will the farmers go back home? That's our first debate tonight. Joining us now, Kiran Kumar Visa, AIK SEC National Working Group member, Arjun Lal Meena, the Udaipur Lok Sabha MP of the BJP. We're also joined by Dr. Ajay Kumar, spokesperson of the Congress. Let me go across to you, Mr. Meena, first. It's a deadlock. I think nobody denies the fact that the situation now is a complete deadlock. What is the way forward? Who is going to take the first step to trying to resolve this situation? मीना जी बताइए।
जी नमस्कार।
जी नमस्कार। नहीं, मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि फर्स्ट स्टेप कौन लेंगे, क्योंकि अब जो है दिल्ली के बॉर्डर्स में एक स्टैंड ऑफ जैसा सिचुएशन है, एलओसी जैसे सिचुएशन है। इस स्थिति में किसको पहला कदम लेना चाहिए टॉक्स को रीस्टार्ट करने के लिए?
देखिए, भारत सरकार ने अपने दरवाजे खुले रखे बातचीत के लिए, तो जो किसान नेता है उनको बातचीत करनी चाहिए। जब सरकार अपनी तरफ से बहुत 8 बात कर चुकी है और अभी भी आमंत्रित कर रही है, सरकार के सामने सरकार के दरवाजे खुले हुए हैं। किसान नेता बातचीत के लिए आए, सरकार से बात करें और समस्या का समाधान करें, क्योंकि भारत सरकार ने जिस तरह से किसान सम्मान निधि का 1,13,000 करोड़ रुपये सीधे किसानों के खाते में जमा कराए हैं, किसान के डबल आय हो, इसके लिए खुला मार्केट, इस 3 बिल के माध्यम से खुला मार्केट का प्रावधान किया गया है। एपीएमसी जो मंडियां है वो एज इट इज रहेगी, उसमें कोई फेरबदल नहीं होगा। ये केवल जो हंगामा हो रहा है, ये जो आंदोलन कर रहे हैं, ये किसान नहीं है, ये दलाल लोग हैं, बिचौलिया है, उनकी अपनी रोजी रोटी के
नहीं, ये सब दलाल लोग हैं,
को भ्रमित करने का
ये
काम
फिर
कर रहे
से
हैं।
वो बातचीत, ये दलाल लोग हैं, ये लोग शायद खालिस्तानी है, पता नहीं कहां से ये लोग आए हैं, ये जेन्युइन फार्मर नहीं है। इस लैंग्वेज से इससे कैसे प्रोग्रेस होगा, इससे हम बढ़ेंगे कैसे?
नहीं, हम हमारा बातचीत कर, हमने दरवाजा खुला रखा है। सरकार
पर अगर सरकार कहते हैं कि ये
से बात करें
जी,
अगर आप कुछ इसमें जो ये किसी मुद्दे पे तैयार नहीं हो पा रहे हैं ना, कोई मुद्दा तो बताए किस बात को संशोधन करना।
ओके, let me get a reaction from Kiran Kumar Vissa.
मतलब नहीं है। Yes.
Arjun Lalji, 1 minute. Kiran Kumar Vissa, the point is this, and the government says it, that they are open to talks. That's never ended. So then what's the next step?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, first, I just want to respond to the gentleman who spoke earlier. See, if the BJP people are still saying that, these are all bicholia, these are not farmers, these are dalal who are sitting there, then is the Prime Minister inviting the dalals for talks? Is he inviting the bicholias for talks? I think this kind of rhetoric has to end. One of the reasons why this standoff has become so severe is because, on the one hand, there is a dikhawa, there is a show of some kind of negotiations going on, but actually nothing really happens at the negotiations where the government comes forward with any meaningful proposal. Meanwhile, BJP is doing this big propaganda across the country about the farmers, and that is what actually has broken down the trust. So I think, firstly, as the government is saying that we are open to the talks and the offer that they made on 20th January is still open, they also need to build back the trust. Because actually what has happened in the last 1 week is that the government has adopted complete assault tactics on the farmers movement. And you have seen the visuals today where there is a fortification. Basically, they are treating the farmers organizations as enemies.
No, but Mr. Vissa, isn't there good reason to actually fortify? If tractors were used in the manner in which they were, if efforts were made to try and run over policemen, and we've seen these visuals, then shouldn't the police be fortifying themselves?
No, Vishnu, I think that, see, these matters have been really cleared up, at least as far as the Samyukt Kisan Morcha is concerned, that actually there are a couple of organizations and a few people who had deliberately announced that they will not follow the route, and the police failed to take action. So I think that there should be
for a police force, Mr. Vissa,
no, there should be, let me
how do you tell the difference between one farmer and the other, if they are all on tractors?
I'm sure that the police and the central intelligence has enough intelligence to actually tell who is let me please complete, who is actually bent on breaking the law, who is genuinely there for the struggle, who is going to stick to the rules and so on. I think they have the intelligence. However, they're trying to play a different game. Secondly, I just want to say that it's not just about the fortification. It is about the cutting of the internet. It is about kind of bringing up unruly mobs who indulge in stone throwing while the police watch. It is about arresting journalists. It is about putting UAPA cases against the farmer leaders, and at the same time calling them for negotiations. I'm saying that this is not being done in good faith.
Okay, now that's an important point. Let me take that across to Dr. Ajay Kumar. The center on the one hand says that they want talks to take place. On the other hand, are the moves that they've made not being done in good faith? The allegations that the media are actually kept away from where the police and the protesters are, and in between groups of people, these are allegations, are allowed to go in. Who are these people? Question marks have been raised. The fact that independent media continues to be targeted in this particular case. So is the center saying one thing in terms of talks but doing something else?
No, look, Vishnu, I've been on a few discussions on this issue, and one continuous theme on these discussions have been that the BJP spokesperson attacks the farmers. Some of them call them anti-national, some of them call them dalals, and that's where they start from. The second part is, so that's not a very good way to start negotiation. Then you call them repeatedly for discussion and have no conclusion. The third part is the failure of the government to label them as anti-national because the government was exposed by what happened at the Red Fort. Deep Singh Sidhu is happily roaming around all over the country giving videos, and he's not even named in the FIR. There's a guy called Pannu who has been one of the main persons who was the belligerent and the group which was creating the maximum number of trouble. The police never picked them up. And a colleague of mine on the panel rightly said that intelligence bureau and the information was adequate. The fourth point was what we saw in the tractor rally on 26th January is very interesting. Despite the intelligence bureau and the Delhi police saying that, listen, there are certain elements which might create trouble, the Home Minister of India set them aside. That's in public domain, so we need to verify, but that's what everybody's saying. And the government should come clear on that. And they allow the procession to happen. But
so that's unverified, but yes.
Yeah, but the most insulting thing is this government is not able to build wall against China, build wall, put spikes, ensure Chinese don't get in. But they are making sure that the farmers of this country don't even fight for their democratic right. And you treat somebody now. My colleague from the Bharatiya Janata Party said कि हम बातचीत करने को तैयार हैं. यार आप गाली दोगे, आप दीवार बनाओगे, आप FIR करोगे और फिर बोलोगे बातचीत करने को तैयार है. I mean, and if you see there is a huge amount of now a groundswell supporting. The last most important thing is अगर ये कानून इतनी अच्छी थी तो सरकार ने क्यों कहा कि 2 साल स्थगित करेंगे? I mean, if they believe that the rule is good, then they should. Why did they say that they
All
should
right.
stop?
अर्जुन लाल मीना जी, आप इस पे रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहेंगे? सरकार एक चीज कहता है, पर अगर आप लोग ये बैरिकेड बनाते, ये वायर लगा के बैठे रहते पुलिस, तो इसमें बातचीत का माहौल कैसे बनेगा?
नहीं, आप देखिए जिस तरह से गणतंत्र दिवस पे जिस तरह से किसानों के रैली के आड़ में जो इन्होंने कृत्य किया है, शर्मसार करने का जो एक गणतंत्र दिवस पे जो इन्होंने काम किया है, ये हमारे देश के लिए भी, भारत देश के लिए एक कलंकित करने वाला कृत्य इन किसान नेताओं ने किया है. हम नहीं समझते हैं अगर इनको कोई बात करनी थी, कितनी बार इनको टेबल पे बुलाए, लेकिन कोई बात करते ही नहीं है, केवल मना करके और चले जाते हैं. तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी के 2019 के लोकसभा के चुनाव में उनके अपने एजेंडे में 11वें बिंदु पे किसानों के कल्याण के लिए ये मुद्दा रखा था, और वही स्वामीनाथन रिपोर्ट जो यूपीए के सरकार में रिपोर्ट आ गई थी, लेकिन इन्होंने लागू ही नहीं किया. ये मोदी सरकार है, देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किसान के कल्याण के लिए किसान सम्मान निधि की घोषणा की और देश में किसानों को दिया, और किसानों की एमएसपी लागू की, विभिन्न फसलों पे एमएसपी देने का काम किया, और साथ ही साथ किसान कल्याण के अनेक योजना निकाली.
All right, Mr. Vissa, you want to reply to that?
Vishnu, I
would like to reply.
One sec, Dr. Kumar. Let Mr. Vissa reply.
Please.
I'll come to you after that.
Yeah,
yes.
please.
No, I would like to first say that in the negotiations, the farmers have put forward very clear points, and they, when there are 5-6 hours of meetings on a day, it's not that no talk is happening from the farmers' side. Very clear reasons, detailed analysis has been put forward to the government. The government ministers also have acknowledged that. So let's not say that nothing has been put forward from the farmers. Firstly. Secondly, the only meaningful proposal actually came on January 20th, after almost 2 months of doing this, which is to put these laws in suspension for 1.5 years. Thirdly, I would just like to say that, this whole thing about, that MSP is being, has actually been brought into implementation by the Modi government and so on. These are all, once again, false things which are being said. What the farmers are saying clearly is that in 21 out of 23 crops, the MSP is announced, but most of the farmers are not getting the MSP. So you please make sure that the MSP is given to the farmers, but assured to the farmers. But if you see even the last budget, the schemes which are meant to actually ensure that the farmers get MSP, which is like the price support scheme or the PM Asha scheme, their budgets have been slashed badly. Farmers are facing a shortage.
All right, so you believe that not enough has been done in the budget as far as the agricultural sector is concerned in several schemes. Okay, 1 second, I need to move on. Before that, Dr. Kumar, go ahead.
No, so the interesting part is my colleague from the Bharatiya Janata Party says that the Prime Minister has done. We keep hearing it that Swaminathan Commission के आयोग के सिफारिश को स्वीकार किया. वो सरासर झूठ है, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट में बीजेपी ने सरकार ने एफिडेविट दिया है कि हम स्वामीनाथन आयोग की सिफारिश को वी कैन नॉट इम्प्लीमेंट, सिफारिश को लागू नहीं कर सकते. They keep telling this on the TV, and they have filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court that they can't. So that is a lie which is being told a million times, and which they continue to say it without any qualm, which is very unfortunate because you expect them to at least have some decorum on this issue. The second issue is that the Congress in all its recommendations it ensured that the competitive forces remain. And why don't you pick up one sentence of a recommendation? There were 190 or 200 recommendations, which included giving more inputs to the farmers, etc., etc. So leave that aside. The most important part is that the BJP says we're giving 6,000 rupees a year to the farmer. By removing subsidy on fertilizers, by removing subsidy on increasing prices of seeds, the farmer is actually paying 50,000 rupees plus more in the year. So 50,000 आपने pocket से निकाला और 6,000 रुपए लेकर के
Okay, last I need to get one last comment from Mr. Meena. मीना साहब, इस पे आप जवाब देंगे, इस पे आप रिप्लाई करेंगे. बजट के जो प्रस्ताव है, विस्ता साहब और डॉक्टर अजय कुमार को कहना है कि जो प्रस्ताव है फार्मर्स के लिए उसमें ज्यादा कुछ है ही नहीं इस बार.
देखिए, अभी किसानों के कल्याण के लिए मोदी सरकार ने 2014 से लेके अब तक जितने काम किए हैं, आप चाहे किसानों के फसल बीमा योजना हो, किसान सम्मान निधि की घोषणा करके किसानों के सीधे खाते में 1,36,000 करोड़ रुपए देने का मामला हो, या किसानों के जो यूपीए के टाइम में जो उनके एमएसपी देने का जो काम किया है, गेहूं में है, कपास में है. मैं एक उदाहरण के तौर पे कपास में 2013-14 में केवल 90,000 करोड़ रुपए यूपीए सरकार में दिया था और एनडीए सरकार में 25,975,000 करोड़ रुपए कपास के समर्थन मूल्य देने का काम किया है.
मीना साहब, it's claim versus claim. The UPA says, the Congress says this is what they promised, the NDA says this is what is promised. But as far as breaking this deadlock is concerned, I'm afraid there are no answers at all. Mr. Vissa, out of time, I need to move on to something that affects everybody in this country, the COVID situation. But there is some welcome news again today. Two pieces of welcome news. The first is there's a new vaccine which seems to be doing well. The Russian Sputnik vaccine is 91.6% effective. Now, that's because it's been peer-reviewed now by the Lancet journal. It's also going to be distributed in India quite shortly, we believe. I'm going to give you a few details about this before I look at the Sero survey in Delhi, because that's good news in a sense, but quite shocking nonetheless, which says that 1 in 2 people in Delhi may have actually had COVID. But let's talk about Sputnik briefly. Now, it's based on the human adenoviral vector-based platform. What exactly does this mean? It means that a weakened COVID virus delivers parts of a pathogen which triggers an immune response to COVID. Now, phase 3 clinical trials are on in India, the United Arab Emirates, Venezuela and Belarus. The trials in India are for citizens between the ages of 18 and 99. The trial size in India, 1,600 participants. Those trials are still continuing. Licensing in India will take place after the phase 3 trial results are analyzed. Now, this vaccine has the highest efficacy at 91.6% after Pfizer and Moderna. Now, the cost of one dose for international markets is less than $10. This is a 2-dose vaccine, so like many of the other ones. And the dry form of the vaccine can be stored at 2 degrees to 8 degrees, so it's easy to transport, and it works in temperatures like ours. The vaccine, of course, Sputnik, named after the first Soviet space satellite. But here's what I really wanted to look at as well today. The Delhi government has announced the results of the biggest Sero survey in Delhi. It's had 28,000 samples. What is a Sero survey specific to COVID? It's an effort to try and find out how far the COVID illness, the virus actually reached the population of Delhi. 28,000 is a reasonably robust number. And here's what it throws up. Women have a higher seroprevalence than men. In other words, there have been more women who have actually contracted COVID in Delhi than men. In Delhi, Southeast Delhi reported a maximum 62.18% seroprevalence. In other words, 62.18% of all people whose blood was tested showed that they had antibodies, I beg your pardon, for the COVID virus. The Delhi government says, let's not say we have hit herd immunity. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the numbers are good, under 200 daily cases. The government says it seems like community transmission if 56% are infected. Finally, they say, yes, it is community transmission. But they're also saying that if people have gotten it and have gotten better, then antibodies have developed and the overall situation is better. In fact, statistically, it is. The government says the centre will comment more on community transmission later on. Community transmission were bad words a few months back, but now it appears that we can talk about it in the context of everybody having gotten it and therefore people by and large getting better. Saurabh Bhardwaj, the MLA and chief spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, with us. Also Dr. S.K. Sareen, he's on the Delhi government's panel on COVID-19. Dr. Sareen, let me come to you first. Herd immunity, the WHO says, is 60% and above. Do you believe we are actually headed there?
Well, as of the data from the Sero survey, it appears that 1 in 2 in Delhi definitely has been exposed. And this is in a way good news and a bad news. Bad news is that yes, they were exposed. But the good news is, yes, Vishnu, we are in a way safe. We have some antibody levels. So, and the fact that, I'll just give you a little more detail on this, that these surveys, the government thought of doing it at the Institute for Liver and Biliary Sciences, where about all these 28,000 samples were come. How do you say positive or negative? Positive means you have antibodies. Good antibodies means you are more than 5 times the control level of antibodies. So if you have more than 5 times control level of antibodies, it means that you have neutralizing antibodies. So between the sample and the control, as control is negative, your sample is 5 times. I'm just repeating it because of the 28,000, 25% means 1/4 had good neutralizing antibodies. So 1 in 4 in Delhi had antibodies which were fairly strong. The remaining 1/4 had antibodies, but you can't say they are very strong. And the others were negative. So if you truly say those who have got good, positive, strong antibodies, it is 1 in 4. Slightly more, as always, females 1 over the males.
Dr. Sareen, this is all fascinating. I think both Saurabh and I are learning a lot over here. But Dr. Sareen, does this mean that those who don't have the strongest antibodies are still vulnerable to COVID?
Yes, there is no doubt about it.
Firstly, so they can still get COVID, right?
Yes, they can get COVID. What we would ideally should do is those who got this survey in July, August or September, if we see them now and those who were positive, are they still maintaining antibodies? There is good data now. Some people can maintain for 6 months or even longer period of time. So I am actually convinced that the antibodies at least would stay for 6 months. And that is the longest data we have also for the vaccines that we have. Now the major question people can ask is, look, I have antibodies. Why should I get a jab? I don't think that's a great approach because you can't, go on.
We don't know how long the immunity is going to last besides anything else.
Yeah, how long it will last. And you can't test everybody for antibodies and then give, oh, you're not having it, so I give you a jab.
Okay.
So that is not a correct approach. In pandemics, please, all of the people, whether they are frontline workers or they are healthcare workers, do not ask this question. I have antibodies. I have therefore should not get a vaccine. I don't think that's a good approach.
Okay. I take your point, Doctor. Running short on time. Saurabh, in a city of what, 18 million plus, these are statistics. The last census was several, these are assumed statistics, but it comes from a government source. This Sero survey means that 9 million people in Delhi have had COVID in some form. Asymptomatic, sure, a large number of them. But isn't this astounding that the spread of this killer disease has affected 9 million people, way more than what anybody expected.
Yes, Vishnu, if you look at the statistics, Delhi has been testing highest number of people per day, and looking into the population density of Delhi, we are at the highest in India. And if you look at our previous sero surveys, at some time it was 20-23% people having antibodies, then it came to 29%, and now we are doing it, so it is around 56%. So basically it is as per the trends, because this is something which happened after we had a spike in November, December. So it basically matches the pattern, and obviously we have tested over 6 lakhs people have been tested by us as positive, but as per this survey, it is almost half the population, which can be called, almost 90 lakh people. And I think it's a very good news for us, and it's a very positive news for us that Delhi has been able to handle so many people, so many positive people. And I heard it, because I'm nobody as knowledgeable as Dr. Sareen, but what I know as a layman is that, usually after 4 months of your antibodies, you don't test positive for the antibodies as well. So I believe probably the number of people who contracted coronavirus, symptomatic or asymptomatic, and got cured is far more than this.
Sure.
Probably, it could be 70%. So I believe that, but we are very sensitive to using words like, herd immunity and community spread, because central government is very touchy that nobody can use the term.
No, in fact, let's be careful about that, because the message is herd or no herd, we still have to be using these masks.
So what Dr. Sareen is saying is the crux is that we should get the vaccine, and we should not let our guard down. We should still keep using our mask, and we should still use sanitizers. We should still have social distancing. We are good, and I think things are improving. It's a good news in 2021, but let's be careful.
I'd like to thank both of you very much for joining us. I'm completely out of time. Would love to have continued this discussion. Need to take a short break. Sanket up next in the next few moments.